Assalamualaikum and hi. My name is Nur Yasmin Anika binti Yusuf and my matric number is A20A1796. I will explain about first data description, second sampling and record categorical data. The last part is conclusion. First, data description. A collection of raw statistics and data gathered during a research project. The dataset contains the following variable, which is sales, comprise, income, advertising, population, price, share, job, age, and urban. Statistical package for the success size or SPSS can predict with confidence what will happen next so that we can make smarter decisions to solve problems and improve outcomes. A variable of interest is a changing quantity that is measured. The variables in a study of a cause and effect relationship are called the independent and dependent variables. The independent variable is the cause. Its value is independent of other variables in your study, while the dependent variables is the effect. For example, a student wants to determine how the variables of the dataset affect the sales of child car seat at 400 different stores. Second, sampling data and record category data. In this part of sampling data and record category data, we have used IBM SPSS software to randomize 115 data over 400 observations from the data part. The tables shows the data that we have been listed after the final observation of using the SPSS statistic. We are using two types of variable, which is sales and price, to randomize the data. So the table shows 100 observations that we have been randomized using the software. After randomize the data, we have been record all the category data in SPSS statistic by doing the following step, which is transform and record the data into different variables.
Hi, my name is Nur Hazwani binti Zaini. My matric number is A20A2201A. I want to present about 3.0 numerical descriptive measures. The frequency F of the class number of data interest in the class, and then data below represent about the data set of the child car seat at 150 different stores. And then we will show how to calculate mean, mode, medium for group data. 3.1 measure of central tendencies. 3.3.1 show about sale, how to get a class, frequency, relative frequency, midpoint, cumulative frequency, and FX. 3.2 is measure of position, measurement of position from lowest to highest, and then the different measure of position quartiles, decimals, and percentage. The quartiles are divided into 4 equal parts, and then decimals data set into 10 equal parts, and then percentage data 100 equal parts. Next, it has two tables. 3.2.1 table for selling, and then 3.3.2 table for price. Next, have 3 points. Is mean, medium, and mode. Meaning of mean is the average or the most common value in a collection of number. 2. Median. Median is a statistic measure that determines the median value of a data set listed in ascending order from smaller to latest value. And then 3. Mode. The mode is the value that appears most frequently in the data set. A set of data may have one mode, more than one mode, or no mode at all. 3.1.2 is a price, and then we show how to get the class, frequency, relative frequency, midpoint, cumulative frequency, and FX. 3.3 is a measure of variation. Has 3.3.1 ranger, and then 3.3.1.1 is sale, and then 3.3.1.2 is price. 3.3.2 variant and standard deviation. 3.3.2.1 table show about the sale, how to get the sale from simple variance and then simple standard deviation. Last 3.3.2.2 is advertising, how to get the sample variance and then how to get the sample standard deviation.
At this graph of cell, we can see it is skewed to the right if it tilts extend to the right. At this graph of price, we can see it is skewed to the right if it tilts extend to the right.
Assalamualaikum. Hi, my name is Nur Al-Tamitri. My number is A20A2213. Next is statistical analysis using software. A measure of central tendency is a value that represents the center of distribution. Three most commonly used to measure of tendency for group data is mean, median, and mode. 5.1 is numerical descriptive measure for median, mode, and mean using SPSS. Selling stands for variable Y and advertising stands for variable X. Next is comparison between SPSS and manual. For selling and advertising, there are different amounts between manual and SPSS for mean, median, and mode. Measure of position for sales and advertising. For these two variables, there are different amounts between manual and SPSS for quarter 1, quarter 3, and range. 5.1.3 is measure of variation for sales and advertising. The amount shown there are different between manual and SPSS for simple variance and standard deviation. The result of SPSS for numerical descriptive measure of position, and measure of variation are not the same as manual because the SPSS can read the data accordingly. Graph for sale we use bar graph. There is slightly different between manual and SPSS. In this graph, is skewed to the right from mean, median to mode. Graph for price, there is slightly different between manual and SPSS. In this graph, is skewed to the right from mean, median, and mode. Next is 5.2 hypothesis testing. Hypothesis testing is a process based on sample data and probability theory to conclude whether the hypothesis is reasonable or should not be rejected or otherwise rejected. To test the validity of assumptions, we must select a sample from the population, calculate the sample size statistic, and based on certain decision rules, accept or reject the hypothesis. 5.2.1 is hypothesis testing for advertising. In this slide show from step 1 to step 3, which are step 1 is hypothesis, step 2 is significant labels, and step 3 is test statistic. Step 4 is decision rules. We reject H null if F is bigger than FA, V1, V2. Critical region for FA is 0.05, V1 is 136, and V2 is 13 with the total amount is 2.26. Step 5 is decision or conclusion. We fail to reject H null since F smaller than FA, V1, V2 with the amount F is 1.660, meanwhile FA, V1, V2 is 2.26. Therefore, there is no significant difference among the treatments. Next is test of normality. The Shapiro weight test of normality on this residual give a p-value of 0.008, which is less than 0.05. The assumption of normality of the residual term is not met. Next is correlation analysis. The R value between sales and price is negative 0.319, advertising and price is 0.084. Thus, price is associated with both sales and advertising. The R value between advertising and price is 0.84, which is less than 0.85. Perhaps there is no problem of multicolority.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Ayun binti Ahmad Adnan. My metric number is S20A1658. Now, I will represent 5.4 confidence interval. The table shows the coefficient, which is the equation for sale is 9.9.9 minus 1.647, which is price, plus 1.547, which is advertising. Next, for every unit increase in price, sales will drop by 1.647, while the advertising level remain unchanged. Similarly, for every unit increase in advertising, sales will go up by 1.47 units, provided the price is same. Next is 5.5 prediction modeling. First is test of normality. The Shapiro test of normality on the residual give a p-value of 0.008, which is less than 0.05. Thus, the assumption of normality of the residual term isn't met. Second, model summary. The R-square value is 0.207, which means 20.7% of the variation in sales can be explained by price and advertising. The adjusted R-square is 19.6%, and the Durbin-Watson statistic is 1.978, which is almost 2. And last is ANOVA. The p-value from the ANOVA table is less than 0.001, which means that at least one of the two variables, which is price and advertising, can be used to model.
Lastly, conclusion. Data description is important to record all information about the data files and their contents. It also refers to a series of observation, measurements, facts, or information about the dataset contents. Statistical knowledge enables students to collect data correctly, conduct accurate analysis, and successfully convey their findings. Statistics is an important part of how we make data-driven decisions and generate forecasts. Students can have a better understanding of a subject by using statistics. Secondly, given the growing relevance of data-driven decision and opinion, it's vital to be able to critically evaluate the quality of data-driven analysis. Statistics plays a very important role in all aspects of life and needs to understand all the data in which is important as discussed above. Furthermore, this entire report has practiced every topic that has been studied in this course from the first chapter until the last chapter to implemented in this report. Last but not least, this aims to compare about the relationship among variables based on the dataset, whether it is related or not between the variables.